This is Feature. So there's a flat earther that is saying that he's expecting the 24-hour sun to be seen in Antarctica during the final experiment. This guy goes by the name of Joe Hanvey, and this is what he's predicting. So he was recently showing you how the 24-hour sun would actually work in Antarctica on a flat earth.
You guys can kind of see this, right?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, so this is the cardinal directions inside the model if I'm looking directly down at the Antarctic ice wall. So this right here is south, this is west, this is east, and this is north. So this is the hot spot of the sun on the floor. And watch how it moves as I move the source sun around Capricorn. So the source sun is going around Capricorn
in the opposite direction.
Yeah, and the hot spot is going what appears to be counterclockwise around the floor. So this is just one way of showing, and this is happening in 6 different zones. So what we have to think of is, all right, so if we're inside of a crystalline dome of some sort, it doesn't even really have to be crystalline because the atmosphere is super reflective due to the amount of water in the atmosphere just by itself. So you have this super reflective dome. You have basically 70+% of a surface that is a mirror because water is basically a mirror. So you have a mirror inside of a mirror and you get these anti-rotations off of that. That's one explanation. That's just one way of explaining it, but you can clearly see that the sun is moving counterclockwise. This would be looking down at the Antarctic ice wall while the sun's moving around Capricorn. And you see that
the Antarctic ice wall would be right where below the north.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
south is right. Yeah. It would be right there where the sun is right now.
Actually, the wall is right about here. Yeah. So, but this south, north.
Okay.
So basically, you would just consider this is basically Antarctica. And again, I'm working with an acrylic dome. You know, it's not like I've got this 100% accurate to what's really out there. It's just a conceptualized way of showing that this is possible. And not only is it possible, this is happening in 6 different locations simultaneously. The only thing that changes is the position of the sun relative to the time zone that the viewer is in.
Now, remember when you showed it before, it was going in the opposite direction? What are you doing differently now?
Well, one, I was just explaining it wrong. It was the biggest thing, and I wasn't showing it from the right angles with the right camera angles and that kind of stuff. But like I said, this is one way of showing it. I have 2 others that I can show it that I don't have in my computer.
So this isn't the first time that globe earthers thought they had something conclusive. So this is like the 3rd time that something like this has happened. They had the star trails thing where they're saying, why do the stars rotate differently below the equator versus above the equator? And then there was the whole distance thing when it comes to traveling from South America to Australia. So one of the first ones was the circumnavigation thing, but the other 2 kind of have to do with Antarctica more so. This is kind of like how the globe earthers have came at flat earthers for years now. They get these things where they think they have conclusive results. So all of these things have been explained by now, and I'll cover how in this video. But first, let's get back to this 24-hour sun. So with Joe Hanvey showing us this demonstration, we're seeing that this isn't the end all be all that some people might think it is, if there is indeed a 24-hour sun. So when it comes down to will there be a 24-hour sun, DITRH actually bet someone, well, he offered to bet someone, but he only put up, like he said, like maybe $5 or something. So it's not the 3 Bitcoins that he was offering for proof of the flat earth, but he is holding out that there will be a sunset in Antarctica during this winter solstice experiment. But regardless, now we're seeing that there is ways to explain the reversal of a sun if the sun's moving in a different direction. And so he's demonstrating how this would look, and it would all have to do with the dome firmament. So this requires the crystalline dome firmament. He says even the water in the sky has reflective properties that can assist in this demonstration. So he's showing us a repeatable demonstration experiment for seeing a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And he also goes on to explain this would also explain star trails.
But let me show you this. As far as this taught me how to show star trails as well. And the star trails do the same thing. They give you this, these zones. Here we go. So I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if I can blow it up some.
I see it.
So that's from the north. And then if I go over, this is looking to the south. And that's happening in 6 different zones. And then if I go to the equator, you see these straight lines through the equator, and you have your southern and your northern trails. So when all the Globers say, well, show me star trails, there you go. In my model with long exposure photography, getting almost identical results to what we see in real life. So the evidence for there being some sort of dome structure causing these optical phenomena is overwhelming. I can demonstrate moon phases with it. I can demonstrate comets, asteroids with it, nebulas, galaxies, northern lights, rainbows, everything. I can demonstrate all of it, assuming not only a celestial dome, but a superfluid layer as well, and get it in quite accurate detail. Not only that, I can explain lunar eclipses, solar eclipses, all of it. Like it's all explainable and scientific within a level enclosed model that has some sort of dome structure at closure.
You're converting me.
So if people are saying, well, the star trails are rotating differently below the equator, this would also explain that, plus a lot of other things this experiment explains. So the original explanation for the star trails moving in a different direction below the equator was the direction you're looking. Like basically, if you see a wall clock, and if you're facing the edge, if you're inside of that wall clock, you're facing the edge, you'll see that minute hand come from the left to the right. But if you turn around towards the center of that clock, you'll see the minute hand coming from the right to the left. So this is how the original explanation was, plus with the, like I said, I'll explain the distances from South America to Australia. That was explained by the wind patterns. And so they're saying basically with the jet stream, there's a jet stream that's on the outer ring that moves faster than the jet streams in the interior part of the earth. So they're saying that planes pick up on this jet stream, and there's actually a big difference when the plane is returning back from the other direction. They're saying there's wind resistance, so the plane will take much longer, and it's provable. So they've been looking at plane destinations and the times that they arrive and the times that they depart, and they've been able to determine that this is definitely the case. So they're saying that all of these things that the globe earthers thought they had the flat earthers on, they think that, well, this is conclusive evidence of the globe, but turns out that there is logical ways to explain these things. So if this demonstration continues to be looked at and examined, we can have an explanation for a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. This is the same guy that previously attempted this explanation. He said he actually explained it wrong before because the sun wasn't moving in the right direction. So he had to tweak some things and, go back to the drawing board and figure out how he would get this experiment correct. So that's what it takes, though. This is the scientific method, so it's repeatable, observable, and this would be a conclusion that you can definitely consider and argue with, because when it comes to flat earth, we come with explanations that would hold up in the court of law. Like with all the things I just covered, with the star trails and the plane speeds and the 24-hour sun in Antarctica, with all these things that the globe earthers think they have the flat earthers on, when it comes down to it, with our responses, flat earthers are going to make sure that we're coming up with an alternate explanation that would hold up in the court of law as a valid argument, a logical argument, and a scientific argument. So these aren't just responses saying, oh, well, we can explain that away and just come up with some mumbo jumbo. No, these are actual explanations that would hold its weight in the court of law. So these are explanations that you would have the science side. They would say what they think is going on with the 24-hour sun, with the plane speeds and with the star trails. And then the flat earthers, when they go up, they would have their turn to explain the same things. And everything we explain is scrutinized and able to hold up scientifically. So just want to make that clear, that we're not just coming up with some simple explanations to explain things away. No, these are some very researched and well thought out and looked into explanations. So let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section. I'm going to leave some links for you if you want to check out my final experiment playlist. I also leave links to my other channels, my social media, my Feed Your Mind store, my free email newsletters, and much more. If you would like to support this channel, please donate as little as $1 to help keep this channel online by becoming a YouTube member or a monthly patron. So thanks for tuning in. This has been Feed Your Mind. Let's get 1,000 likes on this video. Signing off.